Good morning, everyone. Today on the podcast, we have with us Prince Sir. You all might know him as the name of Accidental Investor on Twitter. You guys might have heard him on his own Twitter Spaces that he conducts very often and brings out fantastic guests, and they share their learnings together. Welcome on the podcast, sir.
Thank you so much, Jay, for inviting me today. It's great to have you. It's great to be here with you on your podcast, and it's basically a privilege to be amongst people whom you are inviting. And I would congratulate you for starting so early in the markets, and I wish you a great success in decade.
Thanks for your wishes, kind words, sir. My first question to you is, sir, what intrigued you to start investments into the stock markets, right? What was the trigger point uh, that led you to start your journey into the markets?
So Jay, as you told about me, my handle also goes by the name of Accidental Investor, right? So
Yeah,
it was not long, but at the beginning of the year 2021, when my brother opened a Demat account for me, I was reluctant to opening Demat account prior to that, for a
yeah,
simple reason, because I had a perception that stock market is nothing but a gamble, right?
yeah,
So when he opened a Demat account for me, and I started somehow investing in few companies initially, and later I realized, when you invest money, you have your skin in the game, right? So at
correct,
that point in time, you have some sort of curiosity, right? And that was a phase when the market was doing well, right? So whatever
correct,
you had invested was doing well, right? So
yeah,
that made me more, what we say, more inclined towards the market, and I started spending more time on Twitter, and luckily I came across so many good handles through which my journey started. And if you remember, like, we did our post podcast first podcast together, right? So
yeah, yeah.
the journey has been kind so far, so just learning. Yeah.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Prince sir and I did a Twitter space for the first time way back in 2021 when we both it was an introductory Twitter space which basically summarized all the basics of stock markets that we both had learned, and we both gave out our learnings into that Twitter space. I think the recording might still be there on the on our Twitter profiles. You guys can check that out, right? But that is fantastic journey, sir, that you said. Uh, I would like to ask you the question that most like what intrigued you to start conducting more and more Twitter spaces, right? As you mentioned that you came across many good Twitter handles that boosted your journey. Uh, what was the experience of bringing such guests on to your Twitter spaces like?
So, Jay, it's like just the entry was serendipity. Likewise, the podcast journey has been similar, in the sense, like, when we started, there was no intention of continuing this on such a large scale. We used to attend Twitter Spaces when other hosts used to do those
Conduct them.
spaces with the various expert, right?
Yeah,
Then we started doing Twitter Spaces randomly, and people started to join, and we provided them with a platform where we take their
yeah.
genuine queries. And I from the beginning, I have maintained that we do not do spaces in which we promote kind of talking more about stocks and all, right? So the idea was to talk about the investing thought process and framework of the guest, right?
Yeah,
So slowly and gradually it started. We requested people to come on the forum, and people have been really kind to me that they agreed to my request. And slowly and gradually, when people come, you are not noticed, right? So within that circle, we expanded our network. And in investing, as we say, network is your net worth, right?
Correct.
So I have been consistently working on this motto. I try to reach out to people my request and come share their journey. And trust me, like, uh, from last 1 year, the almost 25,000 plus hours of content has been listened on my YouTube channel, and people are really appreciating the work I'm doing. And the community, whole investor community with whom I am connected, is kind enough to support my work. So this is there
Wow.
was no set thing, or what we say, nothing. What we say, it was not planned, right? So it was
Yeah.
all serendipity, and from here I want to take it further, right?
Oh, all the best wishes to take that further, sir. Uh, this is how
Thanks.
similarly, like my journey also started. Like nothing was like planned to do this, that. But as the network grew, the more and more I met more and more people, and then brought them on the podcast, and then that channel grew. Right. So our journeys was overlap a lot. Right. My next question to
True.
you is, sir. Yeah,
One
yeah,
before we move on to next question, Jay, it's like people within the community, to name a few: Sajal sir, Ishmohit, Kumar,
yeah,
Saurabh, and more, like who supported us in our initial like Twitter journey, right?
yeah.
So likewise, I'm thinking, as we are growing our circle, we are supporting people by helping them understand the nuances of investing, and also like promoting the people who are doing good, right? So we are
Correct.
forums are open for all the guests who can add value to our attendees. So we normally, what I tell you is, like, I avoid spaces which are more of like promotional. There are many people who reach out to me to do a promotional thing, right? But
Yeah,
my conscience doesn't allow, because if there is something ethical, then can be that can be pondered upon. But again, simply doing things for marketing doesn't go well, right? So the
yeah,
idea is to maintain the integrity and honesty, so as to add value to the attendees. And in that manner, somehow, like, the people who supported us, it's our onus that we also support some people who are doing good in the community, and bring them to our forum so that they get the necessary exposure. Yeah.
yeah. That is a very very right decision, right? Because as you mentioned the names, right? Ishmohit sir, Sajal sir, Saurabh sir, they all have been immense source of learnings to take from, right? Because I've learned a lot through their tweets and their sessions on YouTube
And
and
even
the Twitter spaces.
Aditya Khemka sir, Velumani sir, and there are many people who
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
supported.
Like
Like, they
the
have been
more you name,
kind coming to
the
us.
more the circle grows, right?
Right, exactly.
That's fantastic. So, uh, uh, as you mentioned, right? The and my next question to you is what was the your 5 to 6 key learnings that you took through conducting so many Twitter spaces that you have done through? Like basically, when you conduct so many Twitter spaces, most of the learnings overlap through the speaker to speaker, right? What were the key 5 to 6 learnings that stayed on to you that you have imbibed in your investing style?
So, Jay, I will, I mean, tell you about the learnings, but I'm not very sure whether I have incorporated all those learnings in my process yet, because
Okay,
I'm
no, no
very,
issues.
very new to investing. But again, over a period of time, surely. But again, see, there are few things in the market, like, you need not be in hurry, right? So market is going to stay, and it's a long journey, right? There is no overnight magic thing in the market, right? Those who are making tall promises, or what we say, unreal expectations, are more or less fooling you, right? So first
Yeah,
thing is, like, your expectations in the market should be right. Secondly, the focus should be more on the process rather than focusing on other aspects, right? If the process is right, so over a period of time, surely you are going to do good in the market. Thirdly, the market is different for everyone, different in the sense, or maybe different. So one has to identify uh, their what we say, their niche and what they understand well, right? So one has to be very clear what their goals are and how they can holistically achieve those goals, right?
Yeah,
Because there is so much of news and content available, right? What to consume and what to avoid is totally up to an individual. The moment you are able to figure this out, surely you will be well placed in compared to others. Apart from that, you can also, the market cycles are very important, right? So likewise, most important aspect which says individual's behavior, right? So
yeah,
one has to identify what kind of behavior we carry, right? Accordingly we have to make our investments. It should not be like we are doing something which make us sleepless at night, right? So one has
correct,
to find out what works for him or her, or what doesn't work. And the idea of doing podcasts is like when we listen to the people who have spent decades in the market, right? The thing which we focus more is on their mistakes, right? And the process. So learning from the mistake is one thing which is very important in the market, because if you want to invest, right, if you are able to create a checklist or maybe something, that sort of thing, through which you
yeah,
can eliminate the things which are not good from investment point of view, so surely you will limit your, the horizon will be small and you will be able to make sound decisions, right? And
correct,
apart from that, what nothing is yeah. So one should not be like dreaming about becoming rich overnight. So one has to show what we say, delayed gratification in the market.
correct,
And you should not be like running after every expert, right? You have to identify your frequency. I mean, if you are say a long term investor, right, so you should be reading or listening to people who carry the same mindset, so that you
mm,
can easily incorporate their thought process and framework. And I mean, you listen to them and you compare it with your framework, and you see what you can fit, I mean, take from them and fit within your framework, right? So this way I
correct,
think we can progress. But again, market is all about learning till so the more you learn, right? But staying humble is one thing which can considerably help you in the market.
fantastic, fantastic, sir. As you mentioned, right, that you should learn from your mistakes as well, and you should learn from others' mistakes as well, right? I think Warren Buffett had a quote on this, right, that he mentioned that uh, the one normal people learn through their mistakes, and the ones who are slightly higher than them learn through others' mistakes as well, right? Fantastic. Uh, my next question to you is, sir, when you look at a particular company, right? How do you go about researching that? Like, for example, as you mentioned, right? You should follow the correct people who align with your investment philosophy, right? So, do you go about going through, like, for example, if you came across a company, do you go through that particular person's views to that company, or you go about individually researching that by yourself?
So, Jay, to be honest, like when we start our market journey, like initial
Yeah,
few years are like we try to search for the names, and I mean there are so many sources available through which you can get information, right? So we are
yeah,
very active on Twitter. So like there are many names which are coming, or whenever you open Twitter, many names pop up, and you see and what all. So depending upon who is sharing the name is one thing. This is basically the broader temperature check, right? Nobody is
yeah,
perfect, and if an expert is sharing some name, that doesn't mean that is a good investment, right?
yeah,
But
because
again,
everyone
if
can
some
make mistakes.
right, right, exactly. So, but again, if some person with the rich experience and who has spent considerable time is sharing something, like, so that could be a good starting point for anyone, right? After
Yeah.
that, there are many screeners and tools available, right, where you can check. I mean, obviously, when we start, we do not have that uh, thorough experience of looking for all the nuances which one needs to be, right. But when it comes to financials, there are many screener tools and many forums like value picker are available, right, where you get to what we should see both the supporting or antithesis point for a company, right. So
Yeah.
and apart on top of that, we have so many kind of biases, right. If some particular name you have in your mind and you think this is a good company, so you try to find out things which are supportive of the thing that the company is good. But that is not
Hmm.
the right review, because once you are you formed an opinion about a company and you are taking some information just to support that, so you are more or less inclined towards that company. And
Yeah, but
also, like,
instead you should also look for antithesis pointers. Like if you had bought a company, then you should look for what are the things against that can go wrong in this company instead of validating your opinions about that company, right?
right, right. And some basic sense, like if you can simply open the website of the company, look for the names of the management, right? And if you Google and see their profiles, like what background they have, or maybe you can also type in like if name of some person plus fraud or some kind of thing, right? So
Yeah,
if there is some issue in the past with the management, that will come up, so you can go through that. Apart from that, like you can also look for the type of business the company is into. So is it structural or maybe it's cyclical? And if
cyclical.
it is cyclical, so is it deep or shallow cyclical? So that kind of basic things, obviously that is not an easy task to do, but again, when you spend some time and you listen to different people and their views, and you read on forums like value picker, so you get so much of insight. And another
Correct, correct,
criteria is valuation, like which in itself is a moving part, right? Because there is no fixed valuation. As time changes, circumstances changes, so it could happen that the valuation which you have assumed, but again when you are doing valuation within your capacity, so you should always look for the most important thing, in the sense like you should have some cushion of margin of safety, right? But again, these are things when you spend considerable time in the market, and then you are able to figure this out. Also, like you also can look into you can look into six checks, you can also do, because there are many accounting practices which are there to fool the investors, in the sense like the financials will look good, but again those are not the factual position. So obviously, if you look at the data for a longer period of time, say 5 7 years, so there are high chances that you will be able to find out those anomalies, right? And on the top of that, you can also do some sense check on the charts ki chart kya bol rahe hain, to kind of in this manner we can start and learn about the companies. But again, it's a long journey, and hopefully the process will improve down the line, and we will be able to uh, be a part of good invest I mean, we will be able to
yeah,
make this process more refined.
yeah, fantastic, sir. Uh, what all books have you read in investing, and what books would you recommend for any beginner who is getting started in markets?
Yeah, there are many books I have read over. I mean, maybe 50 to 70 books so far, and
Wow.
there is a pipeline of books which is pending. But again, I would suggest, like, whoever is just starting their journey, right? They
Yeah,
should. I mean, they can start with the PDF, or maybe that is readily available, Jiroda Varsity, right? So basically,
yeah,
very simple terms are enumerated in that book, so that the person who is going through those terms may find it easy when he start reading other investing books. And there is one book by Prasanjit Paul, that's a very simple book, nothing happening, but again, that is so simple book so as to understand the things in Indian context. Again, I also did a podcast on that book, The Bulls, Bears, and Other Beast, if I remember it correctly, right? So
Yeah,
that is another great book so as to understand the history of Indian markets. And now, after that, obviously Peter Lynch's books are great, if you are comfortable reading about foreign authors, because most of the books are available from foreign authors also, right? And there are some books from Saurabh Mukherjee, those are also good books. And one book is like Master Class with Super Investors, so that is again a very very good book. And to name a few more, like one is Better Value Investing by Andrew Hunt, so that book also I really liked. And let me think if any, yeah, a very very good book on the market cycles is like The Capital Returns. I forgot the name of the author, but Capital Returns is the name of the book. And apart from that, Howard Marks books are great, and you will surely cherish the information available and different kind of market cycles he has talked about. So that is, I mean, he always says like you cannot predict the things exactly, but broadly you can sense where we are in the market, and that can considerably help what kind of market
yeah,
this is and how we can place ourselves so as to be at our advantage. So
yeah,
idea is like these books help you condition your behavior, but again the time aspect, maybe until unless you spend time in the market and experience few market cycles, I think things are not that easy as people often say that
yeah,
they have find out the need.
yeah. That's true. Until they finally dip their legs into the markets, they won't get the actual learnings, right? Uh, Fantastic.
And even
As
Five Rules of Successful Investing by Pat Dorsey is another good book which
Mhm.
individuals can read. So there are many books, but again, yeah, one important late Parag Parikh sir.
Yeah,
So
that's a
Value
fantastic
Investing
book.
Parag Parikh sir, that is again a great book.
Yeah, yeah, I've read that. Another book that comes to my mind is Richer, Wiser, Happier. It is basically describing the investment philosophy of 6 to 7 top investors in the markets, and basically what was their thought process while investing into a particular company. The book is filled with different case studies, and you also mentioned Zero the Varsity, right? I also when I was just getting started into the markets, I followed that book for the basics of fundamental and little bit of technical analysis, right?
Jay, to your surprise, like I'm currently reading the same book, and that's a great book by William Green, who has spent decades of time interviewing these stalwarts and sharing their learnings with us. Is indeed a great thing. So that is a must-read book for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Someday, I would love to host William Green as well. We both can host him on the Twitter space. It would be it would be a great learning experience to learn from the one who has interviewed such legends, right?
Surely, we will get in touch with Green and see if we can materialize this thing.
Yeah, yeah. Sure, 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 sure. My last question, my ending questions to you is, basically, who is your role model in investing? Like, whom do you look up to while like forming your style of investing?
Jay, to be honest, I am still not able to find what is my style of investing, because it's really
Ever
what we
changing?
say very yeah, ever changes, but again a very nascent stage you can call it.
Yeah,
So currently the focus is more on passive investing. So active investing is not easy, and it will take its time. So just learning the nuances from various experts. So naming one person would be injustice. There are so
to the
many
other ones. Yeah, yeah.
great investing stalwarts. Uh, be it
That's
Charlie
right.
Munger sir, Warren Buffett, and again, Twitter fraternity, the network I've built has so many great people like Aditya
True.
Khemka, Sajal sir, Vishal Khandelwal sir, and even Kedar B. To name a Rohit Chauhan sir. So I mean, all the people who have spent so much of time and they are sharing their knowledge with us, and that is indeed a great gesture on their part. Sajal sir, Puneet Bansal. So basically, see, my current inclination as far as sectors is concerned is like into banking and financials, the
Got it.
the chemical and pharma spaces, uh, healthcare broadly, and IT companies, right? So even we
Got it.
we heard Ameya on my podcast various times. So IT is one sector I'm looking up to, but again, not not saying it. I mean, from investment point of view, but
Yeah,
again,
yeah. Everything
we
mentioned
can
in this
look for
podcast is not a investment advice. You should
right, right.
learn by yourself,
Every
and yeah,
so basically, yeah, basically people should invest in things which they understand, and if they think they tried and they are still not able to figure out whether they can invest directly, so there are many other ways of investing, that is passive investing, which we say index investing or maybe through mutual funds. So
correct.
obviously, you do not get the thrill in that because that takes time so as to basically you accumulate units, right? And those appreciate over a period of time, so you see your corpus building slowly, so that doesn't provide the necessary thrill as we see when people invest in bull phase of the market and stock doubles within a period of say 4 or 5 months or maybe within a year. So that kind of thing
Correct.
doesn't happen with the passive investing, but it's a great tool if you are consistent and doing SIPs over a long period of time. So there are many names, and it's a never ending process. I always look forward to new people who can greatly help us and the community with their knowledge and experience. So hopefully, as we spend more time in the market, so some sort of wisdom we may also acquire with time, and rest is all about how hard work we do. And I think like the one thing which is most important is the market is there to stay. You should not hurry, right? But
Correct.
it doesn't mean like you should be prepared when the opportunity comes, but it should not be like you dream of becoming rich overnight. The process
Yeah,
is more important, everything else just follows.
fantastic, sir. Uh, I will just like the last question to you is, who are all the fantastic guests that you're bringing on your Twitter Spaces up in the upcoming days or upcoming month?
So there are many in pipeline. So today we have one with Ashish P.
So many years
Somalia
of
sir, yeah, CEO of White Oak Capital.
capital. Yeah,
And on third third of April, we are Ravi Jain is coming, and obviously tomorrow most likely we will have a non pharma spaces with Sajal Kapoor sir. So there are many good what we say guests who are in pipeline, and even Tariq also would be joining maybe next to
wow,
next month. Let me guess or more. Even Jatin Khemani sir also agreed, but let's see when we can materialize as far as date is concerned. So there are many
wow.
names, Jay. I'm not able to recollect at this point in time, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
there are many names, and surely we try to reach out to maximum people who are very experienced and surely a value addition.
fantastic, fantastic. So all the best for your Twitter Spaces, and it was pleasure hosting you on the podcast. Like personally, I learned a lot through your journey and all the learnings that you shared with us.
Pleasure is all mine, Jay, I must say. So thank you for this opportunity. And this is first time for me. I've been hosting many people, and being on the other side feels great, right? And
Yeah,
it is always great to have an interaction in which we ask impromptu, right? So
Yeah,
great set of questions from you. I hope I did some justice to your audience. You and
yeah.
I more or less are same experience, but I will surely say you are very hardworking, and you started at a what we say the best age one can start at, and don't stop and keep working hard. I see you among the top investing people in a decade or so. So my best wishes. Continue with your podcast. And these are a great value addition to our audience. And yeah, also don't forget to focus on your studies. Yeah, my best wishes to you as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.